You sit there, staring at the list of goals you wrote just 2 weeks ago. The year 2026 was supposed to be different. This was the year you finally woke up, the year you finally took control, the year you built something real. But here we are, barely into January, and you can already feel the familiar weight settling in, the lethargy, the fog, the creeping suspicion that despite your best intentions, you are destined to repeat the same cycles of mediocrity you swore to leave behind in 2025. You tell yourself you just need more discipline. You tell yourself you need a better routine, a new app, a louder alarm clock. But deep down, you know that isn't true. You don't lack discipline, you don't lack resources, you lack energy. But not the kind of energy you get from sleep or caffeine. You are leaking vital psychic energy from a wound you cannot see, because you have spent your entire life pretending it doesn't exist. You are not the master of your own house. There is a stranger living within you, a silent partner who votes against your success every single time you try to move forward. You set a goal to get fit, and the stranger demands comfort. You set a goal to build a business, and the stranger demands safety. You set a goal to speak your truth, and the stranger chokes you into silence. Carl Jung, the Swiss psychiatrist who mapped the darkest corners of the human mind, had a terrifying name for this dynamic. He didn't call it laziness or procrastination, he called it fate. He famously said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate." What you are experiencing right now, this paralyzing lack of drive, is not a failure of character. It is a civil war, a war between the person you think you are and the person you actually are. And until you end this war, until you sign a peace treaty with the enemy in your basement, no amount of motivational videos or New Year's resolutions will save you. Welcome to the architecture of the mind. Today we are not looking for motivation. We are going to find where you buried it. To understand why you are stuck, we must first understand what you have done to yourself. And make no mistake, this is something you did, however unconsciously. Imagine that when you were born, you were 360 degrees of pure potential. You were angry, you were joyful, you were greedy, you were generous, you were terrified, and you were brave. You were whole. But as you grew, you realized that certain parts of you were not welcome. Your parents, your teachers, your society, they all handed you a pair of scissors. They told you that to be loved, to be accepted, to be a good person in 2026, you had to cut away the parts of yourself that didn't fit. When you got angry, they told you to be nice, so you cut off your aggression and threw it into an invisible bag you dragged behind you. When you were proud, they told you to be humble, so you cut off your confidence and threw it in the bag. When you were selfish, they told you to share, so you cut off your ability to prioritize yourself and threw it in the bag. Robert Bly, the poet and author, described this as the long black bag. We spend the first 20 years of our lives stuffing this bag with every trait that society deems unacceptable. We stuff in our sexuality, our creativity, our rage, our desire for power, and our desperate need for attention. By the time we are adults, the bag is 5 miles long and weighs 1,000 pounds, and we wonder why we are so tired. We wonder why we can't move forward. This bag is what Carl Jung called the shadow. The shadow is not just evil. It is simply everything you have refused to be. It is the I am not. If you identify as a kind person, your shadow is cruel. If you identify as a hard worker, your shadow is lazy. If you identify as a rational thinker, your shadow is chaotic and emotional. The problem is that the shadow does not die just because you put it in the bag. The shadow is alive. It is a living, breathing psychic entity with its own wants, its own needs, and most importantly, its own energy. Jung wrote, "The less it is embodied in the individual's conscious life, the blacker and denser it is." Think about that. The more you try to be a good person, the more you repress your darker impulses, the denser your shadow becomes. You are creating a pressure cooker inside your own psyche. You are not eliminating your darkness, you are condensing it. and a condensed, pressurized force that has no outlet will eventually explode. But before it explodes, it does something even worse. It drains you. It becomes a gravitational black hole in your personality, sucking the life out of everything you try to do. You want to move forward into the new year, but you are dragging a corpse behind you, and the corpse has started to wake up. This brings us to the core reason for your lack of motivation in 2026. We tend to think of motivation as something we need to acquire, like fuel for a car. We watch videos, we listen to music, we try to get pumped up, but this model is fundamentally wrong. In Jungian psychology, the psyche is a self-regulating system of energy. Jung used the term libido to describe this energy. Now, Freud thought libido was purely sexual, but Jung went deeper. For Jung, libido was simply psychic energy. It is the life force itself. It is the fuel of will, desire, creativity, and action. You have a finite amount of this energy. It is not unlimited. Now, here is the terrifying economic reality of your mind. Repression is expensive. Imagine you are in a swimming pool. You have a giant beach ball. This ball represents your shadow, your anger, your jealousy, your selfishness. You don't want anyone to see this ball. It's embarrassing. It's bad. So you try to hold it underwater. As long as you are standing still, you can manage it. You can hold the ball down with one hand and smile at the people around you. You look calm. You look like you have it together. But what happens when you try to swim? What happens when you try to build a business, or maintain a relationship, or transform your body? You can't. You are exhausted. Not because the task is hard, but because 90% of your available energy is being used just to keep the ball underwater. This is why you are tired. This is why you have brain fog. This is why you can stare at a computer screen for 4 hours and do absolutely nothing. You are not lazy. You are energy depleted. You are currently fighting a 24-hour-a-day battle against your own nature, and it is bleeding you dry. The good person you are trying so hard to be is a parasite. The persona, the mask you wear for the world, is an energy vampire. It requires constant maintenance, constant suppression, and constant acting. Jung warned us about this. He saw patients who were perfectly adapted to society, successful, polite, moral people who were completely dead inside. They had no neurosis perhaps, but they had no life. They had sacrificed their vitality on the altar of social acceptability. If you want to unlock your drive for 2026, you have to stop trying to add more energy to the system. You have to stop looking for external motivation. You have to release the energy that is currently trapped in the act of repression. You have to let the ball come up. But how do you find the shadow? If it is unconscious by definition, you cannot see it. You can't just look in the mirror and say, "Oh, there is my repressed rage." To you, your repressed rage doesn't look like rage. It looks like righteous indignation. The shadow is slippery. It hides in the last place you would ever look, other people. This is the mechanism of projection. When you refuse to acknowledge a trait in yourself, you will inevitably see it in everyone else. Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves, Jung wrote. This is the most painful part of shadow work, and it is why most people never do it. It requires a humiliating level of honesty. Think about the person in your life who triggers you the most. Not someone who actually harmed you, but someone whose mere existence makes your skin crawl. Maybe it's the arrogant coworker who talks too loud. Maybe it's the friend who is too selfish with their time. Maybe it's the influencer who seems purely driven by greed. Why do you hate them? You will have a logical explanation, of course. You will say, "I hate them because arrogance is wrong." But why does it make you emotional? Why does it ruin your day? You hate them because they are doing exactly what a part of you desperately wants to do, but you won't let yourself. You hate the arrogant man because you have repressed your own desire for power. You hate the selfish friend because you have repressed your own need to put yourself first. You hate the greedy influencer because you are starving for resources, but are too afraid to ask for them. They are your mirrors. They are living out your unlived life, and your hatred is actually envy in disguise. Look at the world in 2026. Look at the polarization in politics, the vitriol on social media. It is a mass projection event. We project our own capacity for evil onto the other side. We convince ourselves that we are the children of light and they are the children of darkness. But as Jung said, one does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. Your triggers are your treasure map. Every time you feel that irrational spike of judgment or disgust, you have found a piece of your lost energy. You have found a piece of your shadow. Instead of judging the person who triggers you, ask yourself the dangerous question, where in my life am I like that? Where in my life do I want to be like that? This brings us to the most crucial realization, the one that changes everything about how you view motivation. We have been conditioned to believe that the shadow is only negative. We think it's full of murderers and thieves, but the shadow contains everything you repressed. And because you repressed your power to fit in, your shadow holds your power. This is the concept of the golden shadow. Think about the traits you need to succeed in 2026. You need assertiveness. You need the ability to say no. You need a degree of ruthlessness to protect your time. You need the audacity to believe your ideas are worth more than others. You need a certain kind of hunger. Where are those traits? They are in the bag. They are in the shadow. You cannot be a harmless, nice, polite person and also be a force of nature. Nature is not nice. Nature is not polite. Nature is effective. When you repress your aggression, you don't just lose the ability to be violent, you lose your drive. Aggression in its raw form is simply energy moving forward against resistance. That is what drive is. It is the ability to push through obstacles. If you have castrated your aggression because you think it's bad, you have castrated your ability to achieve goals. You have made yourself impotent. Jung famously said, "I would rather be whole than good." Wholeness includes the monster. You might be thinking, but I don't want to be a monster. Good. You shouldn't be a monster, but you should be capable of being one. Jordan Peterson, drawing on Jung, often makes the distinction between being harmless and being peaceful. A rabbit is harmless. It cannot kill you. It is not virtuous for the rabbit to be peaceful. It has no choice. It is simply weak. A wolf, however, has the capacity to kill. If a wolf chooses to sit quietly by your side, that is peace. That is virtue. That is controlled strength. To unlock your inner drive, you must reclaim the wolf. You must go into the basement and unchain the beast. Imagine if you could access the energy of your repressed arrogance, but instead of using it to belittle others, you used it to believe in your work when no one else does. That is confidence. Imagine if you could access the energy of your repressed greed, but instead of hoarding, you used it to relentlessly acquire knowledge and resources to build your vision. That is ambition. Imagine if you could access the energy of your repressed anger, but instead of punching a wall, you used it to attack the problems in your life that are holding you back. That is determination. This is the alchemy of shadow work. You are not getting rid of your darkness. You are transmuting it into light. You are turning lead into gold. The energy that was once sabotaging you becomes the engine that drives you. So, how do we do this? How do we move from philosophy to reality in 2026? We cannot simply decide to integrate the shadow. It is a process. Here is a protocol for the weeks ahead. Phase 1. Stalking the shadow. For the next 7 days, your job is to become a spy in your own mind. You are looking for high-charge emotional reactions. Watch for the moment you judge someone. Watch for the moment you feel irrational irritation. Watch for the moment you feel a sudden drop in energy or a wave of unexplained shame. When these moments happen, do not brush them aside. Stop. Write it down. I felt disgusted when X bragged about his money. Then apply the reversal. I am disgusted because I am afraid to admit I want money. Catch the projection. Own the trait. You don't have to act on it yet. Just admit that it lives in you. Phase 2, the dialogue. Jung practiced a technique called active imagination. It sounds strange, but it is deeply effective. You are going to talk to the part of you that is ruining your life. Sit in a quiet room, close your eyes, personify the resistance you feel. If your procrastination had a shape, what would it look like? Is it a sullen teenager, a terrified child, a demon in chains? Ask it what it wants. Why are you stopping me from working? Listen for the answer. It might surprise you. It might say, I'm stopping you because if you try and fail, I will die of shame. Or it might say, I'm stopping you because I hate the work you're doing. It's not who we are. This part of you is not your enemy. It is a protector that has gone rogue. Negotiate with it. Acknowledge its fears. When the shadow feels heard, it often stops sabotaging and starts cooperating. Phase 3, the microdose of evil. This is the most practical step. You need to practice letting the shadow out in controlled, safe bursts. You need to microdose your evil. If you are a chronic people pleaser, your shadow work is to disappoint someone on purpose. Say no to a small request without explaining yourself. Don't apologize, just say no. Sit with the discomfort. Feel the surge of power that comes from protecting your boundaries. If you are chronically humble, your shadow work is to brag. Privately, write down 10 reasons why you are superior to your competition. Feel the arrogance. Taste it. You don't have to publish it, but you need to feel the posture of superiority so you can call upon that strength when you need to sell yourself or your ideas. If you are chronically nice, allow yourself to feel your anger. When someone cuts you off, don't be spiritual about it. Feel the rage. Let it flood your system. Then, instead of acting destructively, channel that adrenaline into a workout or a focused block of work. Prove to your psyche that you can handle the high voltage of these dark emotions without destroying your life. As we move deeper into 2026, you have a choice. You can continue to be the good person. You can continue to smile while you suffocate. You can continue to drag that long black bag behind you, wondering why you are so exhausted, wondering why your dreams always seem to slip through your fingers. You can remain a fragmented, harmless rabbit, safe in your burrow but terrified of the world. Or you can turn around. You can open the bag. You can look the monster in the eye and realize that it has the same face as you. This path is not easy. It is not for the faint of heart. It requires you to accept things about yourself that you have spent a lifetime denying. It requires you to destroy the perfect image you have built for the world. But the reward is not just motivation. The reward is reality. The reward is a life that is truly yours, fueled by the full, nuclear power of your total psyche. You do not need to become a better person this year. You need to become a whole person. Jung left us with a final haunting reminder of the necessity of this work. He said, "No tree, it is said, can grow to heaven unless its roots reach down to hell." If you want to reach the heights in 2026, stop looking up. Look down. Your drive is waiting in the dark. Go get it.